This is Anita again from Mindoro, and today we're going to talk a little bit about how to design a lamp, and this lamp is going to actually have a natural shade to it. So we found the shape that we like. We're just using this shape as a reference. We're not going to copy this lamp at all. We are just going to use it as sort of a background reference for what we're doing. We've imported a layer now. We're tracing around the edges of what we want for it so that we can be able to just kind of get the shape. This is one of the great things. You can kind of pull things that you see, and then you can use them as kind of a basis for the shape without copying them at all, but just maybe using as kind of a reference and a guide for like the height and the scale and the other things, because this lamp has a really nice height and scale. So you can actually go in a bit, and you can check and make sure that everything is already done. You can try to get this curve correct, completely right, as much as I can, and then you need to go over it again. Like I said, the great thing about Procreate is you can go over it a couple times and it will be just fine for it. So we'll go there now, and we'll check and we'll see how it is, and which kind of we like to check again, see kind of which pencil we're on, and we're going to try to put a color on it now to see whether or not that color may or may not work. And it doesn't work because you see it's not quite all there. There's still some gaps in it. So this becomes the problem with it. If you don't correct those gaps, as I've said many times, when you're trying to do this method, you will have a problem. It definitely will not work. So we'll go back again, and there now you see it works. We've got the shape of the lamp already. Now we need to add a layer. Again, very important, as I've stressed many times, add a layer, and then we're going to use another color so that we can be able to see exactly what we're doing. And then we're going to just elliptical shape right here, and we're going to try to adjust that on there so it will be as close as possible. And then we will see whether or not we can be able to add any type of layer onto that one, and whether or not it will go in or not. And it did not. So we got to go back and figure out why it didn't. Maybe move in something a bit closer. No, there still seems to be something wrong with it there. And see if we get there. We got it. So sometimes with some of these smaller shapes, especially when you're doing this, you got to take a little bit of time. You can see now we moved underneath. We might have to do a little bit of adjustment on that layer there, just to move it in a bit, just so it's a little bit tighter in there, and it will look better. So the great thing is, again, as I've told many times, is working with layers, you can really adjust all these layers. So this becomes a great thing to be able to use. Now the next part that we want to do is we have to look at the neck of the lamp and decide. And the great thing about the neck is it doesn't really have to be exact, because you can move that layer underneath other layers and it will usually be just fine. So you don't have to worry so much about doing it with the neck and how it is. But again, the next thing you need to do is you need to make sure that you add a layer, which we're going to do right now. So we're going to have a layer on top of that, and then we can kind of move it in a little bit so we can see kind of what we're doing. Work with both of your fingers on the screen and move it in, and then we can kind of do this rectangle here to get it straight. And we're not going to worry about the shade, because we'll make sure that it's under the shade, under the layer, which will be under the shade, and we can kind of move it about. Sometimes these really small ones are kind of hard to work with a little bit, and so it can be a little bit difficult. And see if we go in there. Yes, it did. So we're okay now. So we decided, we actually spent a little bit of time deciding kind of what we are going to do with this lamp. And I've actually decided, we've done the finial too on the top, you can see, and I'm actually looking to add a natural shade. We tried some other shades and it just didn't look right, and so we just feel like this natural shade is gonna kind of give it a bit of a natural look. So we're gonna have to move around a couple things, we're gonna be moving around the neck a bit to make sure. We're gonna have to make sure we move the shade into the right place for the neck. So sometimes you can play around a little bit and kind of decide where the best place is for each one, and if it's not, then you can move it again. That's a great thing about Procreate, is it allows you to move stuff around quite easily. that you can move things in and around and about. And that's really not quite right, as you can see, that I didn't quite move it to the right place, but we'll be able to get that adjusted very easily. So we can actually move the shade too to decide exactly what kind of size we need and where we want it to be according to the finial, and then we can move it about a bit more. But you can see actually how really easy Procreate is to do. I don't think this has taken us any more than maybe 8 or 9 minutes, and that would be if you really had it planned out, you knew exactly what you wanted to do. You could actually do a design in under 10 minutes if you wanted to. So especially a simple design like this, where it's just kind of a basic lamp shape and a shade that you already have. So we're gonna have to move this around a little bit more, and we can go in and we can make sure that we kind of get that right there where it needs to be, so the neck doesn't look like it's sticking out of the base like it kind of does right now, because you want it to kind of be on top and in the center there a little bit. And then you need to move it out a little bit more. And like I said, these small ones can actually be kind of tricky to play with sometimes. You really maybe have to get in a bit and really kind of get more, more in so that you can be able to see it. So that looks pretty good. And then the next thing we need to correct now is just the finial. And then I think this lamp will be good to go. So you can watch me now trying to do some adjustments now to this finial here and deciding what type of finial I exactly want to have, because that becomes part of it too in deciding, like, do you want to have a bigger finial, a smaller finial, what kind of finial do you want to have, and then moving it all in and getting it to be into the right place and the right location. As we've said many times, we really love Procreate. Anyone can learn to design on Procreate. Anyone can be a designer. You just need to have the program and just need to be willing to learn a few things, and anyone can design. That's the greatest thing about this program around. So here we go now. I think we're got it adjusted, and we have it adjusted there. So thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for watching this video on how to make a lamp. This is Anita from Mindoro, and we'd really love to be able to hear from you. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have a lot of other great videos about Procreate and how to use Procreate. And if you need any help at all here in Asia with being able to create, develop, or manufacture home decor, home furnishing products, please do talk to us. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to be able to help you in any way we can. And check out our blog, Mindoro.com. We have a lot of great information there about a lot of different types of products. Thank you so much for listening. We really do appreciate your time. Thank you.